Okay, it's 6:07. 36 participants are on Zoom. I think we'd better start now. Okay, so welcome back to our review session, live review session for English majors. Wait. Again, I am Professor Paul Hiranio. I'm a faculty member of the University of San Agustin. I finished my bachelor's degree in secondary education, major in English, at West Visayas State University here in Iloilo City. And I studied my master's degree in education, major in English as a second language at the University of the Philippines, that's UP. And currently, I am finishing my Juris Doctor degree at the College of Law of the University of San Agustin here in Iloilo City. So let's start. I'm sure you are holding now your review material, the review material I sent you yesterday through the owner of Gurong Pinoy. And I'm sure you have answered the same. So you check your answers as we go along. There are 50 questions there. We will rationalize each one. And I think let's make the passing mark a bit higher from 25 to 30. Wait, mute all. Okay, this time the passing mark is 30 over 50, not 25. Let's make it higher. Okay? Mute all. Okay, let's start. Question number 1. Okay, Roxanne, yes. In the direct method of language teaching, the teaching is done entirely in A, the native language of the teacher. B, the native language of the student. C, the language being learned. D, all of these. E, none of these. What is the answer? Again, in the direct method of language teaching, the teaching is done entirely in A, the native language of the teacher. B, the native language of the student. C, the language being learned. D, all of these. E, none of these. Please write your answer in the chat box so that we can analyze later. Okay? Direct method of language teaching. Josh said letter C, the language being learned. Christelle said letter C, the language being learned. Layla said letter C, the language being learned. Okay? Direct method of language teaching. Yes, Julianne, good evening. Okay, the correct answer is, wait. The correct answer is letter C, the language being learned. Again, the correct answer is letter C, the language being learned. In the direct method of language teaching, the teaching is done entirely in the language being learned. So if you are learning English, then the teaching is done entirely in English. Okay, not the language of the teacher, not the language of the students, but the target language. Okay? The correct answer is letter C. Because in the direct method, there is full immersion in the classroom environment. Full immersion in the classroom environment. In other words, if that is an English classroom, then the sole language that has to be used is English. No other languages should come in, right? So full immersion in the classroom environment. Now, my question is, yes, the native language is not spoken. My question here is there translation here? Is there translation involved in the direct method? Like, pag hindi alam ng bata, ang bata ay taga Cebu, pag hindi alam ng bata ang English, then the teacher translates the word from Cebuano to English or from English to Cebuano. May translation po bang nangyayari? Really? Wala. I said full immersion. Forget about your native language. There is only the language being learned. No translation takes place. Okay? In the classroom, you only speak English, nothing more. Okay? No, to encourage them to learn more, to learn better the target language according to Roxanne. Yes, no translation. Regine said, does not allow the use of translation or use native language. Correct. Okay? Another question. What is the other term for the direct method? What is the other term for the direct method? Natural approach, natural. And Nirika said natural approach, natural method. That is correct. Natural method. Okay? Now let's go to question number 2. So it says here, the direct method, students are directly taught with target language without using their native language. Now let's go to question number 2. It refers. Friends, it is pronounced refer, not refer. Because I always hear people say refer. No, it's refer. The accent is on the second syllable. It refers to the study of how written or spoken texts are effective in persuading readers or listeners to accept their arguments. A. Rhetoric. B. Applied linguistics. C. Phonology. D. Descriptive linguistics. What is the answer? Refers to the study of how written or spoken texts are effective in persuading readers or listeners to accept their arguments. So I think the keywords here are effective and persuading. In other words, this is the art of persuasion. Okay? In Filipino, kinokumbinse, you know? You convince people to believe your arguments. Okay? That refers to the art of what? Okay? Rochelle said rhetoric. Layla said letter A, rhetoric. Yes, Stella, A, rhetoric. Yes, Daleen, persuasive speaking. The correct answer is letter A, rhetoric. Yes. So what is the main goal of rhetoric? To persuade, right? To convince. Whether it is speaking or writing. Okay? Panghihikayat, America, correct. Persuasive speaking. Okay, wait. Someone is waiting to join in. Okay. Mute all. Now okay, rhetoric, techniques of language used to convey a point or convince an audience. So rhetoric. Now let's go to question number 3. Formalistic literary criticism is related to the structure of. This is literary criticism. A. Literary devices. B. Myths. C. Content. D. Form. What is the answer? Formalistic literary criticism is related to the structure of A. literary devices. B, myth. C, content. D, form. What is the answer? Melchora said letter D, form. Regine said letter D, form. Daylene, form. Yes, Helen, Grace, form. Okay? From the word formalistic, you already have your clue here, right? So the correct answer, oh, sorry, it's actually, sorry, my bad. It's not content, it's form. The correct answer is, it's just my mistake, but the correct answer is letter D. Okay? Form, not content. Letter D, form. Formalistic form, yes. Okay, this was the topic of my undergraduate thesis. Formalistic approach. I studied the short story of Carlos Bulosan entitled As Long as the Grass Shall Grow, using the formalistic approach. This was my college thesis. Okay, sorry, it's not content, it's form. The correct answer is not letter C, but letter D, form. Okay, so let's discuss the formalistic approach first. Okay, in formalistic literary criticism, you analyze literature based on its form. Now, words used, anong mga words na ginagamit, ang grammar na ginagamit, the symbols, the literary devices. Now, my question is, if you analyze, for example, okay, let's analyze Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, right? Okay, the literature that we will analyze is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Now, using the formalistic approach, or the formalistic literary criticism approach, do you consider the life of the author? Kung sino yung sumulat ng kung sino yung sumulat ng wait. Kung sino yung sumulat ng Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, do you study his life? Do you take into consideration kung ano yung klaseng buhay meron siya sa formalistic approach? Josh said no. Correct. Wala. No. How about, do you study the historical period? Okay? Yung kung anong year siya ipinanganak, anong year niya sinulat ang literature, anong historical background ng Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Do you take that into consideration? No, correct. Wala. So your only consideration here is yung sinulat mismo, right? Yung literature mismo. Do not care about the author, do not care about the historical period that forms as its background. Wala. Just the words of the literature, just the structure of the grammar, the literary devices used, so on and so forth. Okay? Yes, Regine, focus sa grammar at symbol. Correct. Now let's go to question number 4. Communication is collective. Mute on. Communication is collective. It means that A, it is made up of experiences collected over a lifetime. B, it is based on social agreement. C, it is an ongoing process without beginning or end. And letter D, it allows us to control those around us. What is the answer? Communication is collective. It means that A, it is made up of experiences collected over a lifetime. B, it is based on social agreement. C, it is an ongoing process without beginning or end. D, it allows us to control those around us. What is the answer? Let me check your answers in the chat box. Rochelle said letter C, it is an ongoing process without beginning or end. Wait. Dolores said letter C. Daylin, letter C, an ongoing process. But the point is, it is collective. Let's focus on the word collective. If collective po ba, does it have to do with ongoing process? The idea of, that it is an ongoing process? Collective eh. It's just collective. Please analyze using, I was telling you before, pag hindi mo alam yung theory, use the context clues na makikita mo sa loob mismo ng stem or sa question. Experiences. Daily experiences collective. Okay, for example, our collective effort. Okay? Really? Your collective sentiment. For example, if you don't like your principal, so you agreed na magrereklamo. So collective 'yan. Social agreement, correct? Josh, it's letter B. The correct answer is letter B. Collective means napagkasunduan. Your collective agreement. That's why we have the term collective agreement. Napagkasunduan ng isang grupo. Communication is a collective agreement, a social agreement. The correct answer is letter B. Yes, collective. Napagkasunduan ng grupo. Right? Communication is always like that. It is a collective agreement. It is based on social agreement. Yes, okay? Please, I've been telling you time and again, use the words you find in the stem and analyze the same so that you can choose the best answer. Now let's go to by the way, collective means done by people acting as a group. And communication is always like that. Mary Joy is waiting outside Zoom. Okay. Now, number 5. A literary and intellectual movement that led writers not to imagine life as it could be, but to examine life as it was actually lived, and to record what they saw around them as honestly as they could. A. Rationalism. B. Realism. C. Romanticism. D. Dark Romanticism. What is the correct answer? Let me check your answer. Melchora said letter B. Josh said letter B. Realism. A literary and intellectual movement that led writers not to imagine life as it could be, but to examine life as it was actually lived, and to record what they saw around them as honestly as they could. Okay? Stella said letter B, realism. Joms, letter B, realism. Some more answers? Griselda, letter B, realism. Okay, the correct answer is letter B, realism. Yes, the correct answer is letter B, realism. Okay, you have some clues in the stem. When you say stem, sa question mismo, the stem. Ano yung mga phrases dito that serve as your clues? Life as it was. Totoong nangyari, right? Actually lived, right? Saw around them. These are the phrases that will lead you to the correct answer. So the correct answer is realism. Okay? Literary realism is a unique genre that looks at real life people and situations. Yes. In um in movies, so we have such movies as Manila by Night. No? Yung totoong nangyayari sa Manila kung gabi, that is A good example of realism in movies. What else? Ang dami, actually. We call that literary realism. Question number 6. Pragmatic and semantic cues help readers to anticipate the A. Structure of a text, B. Sound of a text, C. Meaning of a text, D. Value of a text. What is the correct answer? Pragmatic and semantic cues help readers to anticipate the A. Structure of a text, B. Sound of a text, C. Meaning of a text, D. Value of a text. Ang pragmatic at semantic cues, okay, help readers kung ano ang mangyayari, kung ano ang susunod sa isang sentence o sa isang reading, sa isang article. Okay, A, structure nito, B, sound, C, meaning, D, value. Okay, what is the correct, let me check your answers. Wait. Saan? Okay, wait. Nieva said, meaning of a text. Jones, meaning, pragmatic, and semantic. Okay, the correct answer is letter C, meaning of a text. Okay? Meaning of a text. When you say pragmatics, okay, how context, okay, contributes to meaning, no? Social cues. And when you say semantics, concerned with meaning. So, meaning talaga yung answer. Okay? Pag structure, grammar. Pag sound, phonology. Okay? Now, let's go to question number 7. Which is not an acronym? A. Scuba. B. Laser. C. Radar. D. Smog. Which is not an acronym? A. Scuba. B. Laser. C. Radar. D. Smog. Elegant Richelle Libato said letter D. Smog. Joan said letter D. Smog. Dolores, letter D. Smog. Some more answers, please. Leila Miguel, smog. Griselda, letter D, smog. Okay? The correct answer is letter... Wait. Wait, please. Someone wants to enter Zoom. The correct answer is letter D, smog. Okay. Okay, Eileen, smog is smoke plus fog. Yeah, blending. Hindi acronym, blending. Correct. Okay, let's discuss the first 3 options. Scuba means self-contained underwater breathing apparatus or apparatus. That's scuba. Therefore, it is an acronym which stands for self-contained underwater breathing apparatus or apparatus. Laser is an acronym as well. It means light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Radar is an acronym as well. It means radio, detecting, and ranging. Okay? But smog is blending. Okay? Smog is blending. And the other term for blending is portmanteau. Okay? Portmanteau is the other term for blending. You might come across this term, portmanteau. It means blending. Okay? Now let's go to question number 8. I'm sorry, the answer is already given. Larimer and Schleicher, 1999, defined blank in the language classroom as oral and writing texts that occur naturally in the target language environment and that have not been created or edited expressly for language learners. A, real materials. B, authentic materials. C, simulated materials. D, textual materials. The answer is already there. The correct answer for number 8 is letter B, authentic materials. Authentic. Okay. Let's talk about authentic materials in language teaching and learning. Ang textbook po ba ay authentic material? What do you think about textbooks? Are they authentic materials? No. Josh, bakit hindi authentic materials ang textbooks? Bakit hindi authentic materials ang textbooks? What is the answer? Textual? Published? Jonalyn said published. Okay. Ang textbook ay ginawa para magturo, right? Ang textbook ay ginawa para magturo. Kung ang isang material ay ginawa para magturo, it's not authentic. Can you hear me? Can you still hear me? Somebody says,
yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Ang textbook ay ginawa to teach, para magturo. Therefore, it's not authentic. Pag ang isang material ay ginawa para magturo, it's not authentic. Okay? For example, ang brochure ng Department of Tourism, ginamit sa classroom ng teacher. Okay. Is it authentic? Ang brochure, ang travel brochure ng Department of Tourism, dinala ng teacher sa classroom at ginamit bilang material. Is it authentic? Authentic. Because ang brochure naman ay hindi talaga ginawa para magturo. Ginawa po yan para sa mga turista, both foreign and domestic. Right? Correct. Anything that is produced, okay, with the intention to teach, it's not authentic. Okay. Authentic materials occur naturally in the target language environment. Okay? How about news broadcasts? Okay, ang nirecord ang news broadcast sa ABS-CBN, sa GMA, nirecord ng teacher at ginamit na panturo sa classroom. Is it authentic? Yung news broadcast ng ABS-CBN o ng GMA, okay? Nirecord ng teacher, dinala sa classroom, ginamit na panturo. Is it authentic? Yes. Kasi ang news broadcast ay hindi naman ginawa primarily to teach, but to inform the general public, right? Okay, we have here sources of authentic materials, TV commercials, films, news items, weather forecasts, announcements, radio talks, interviews, debates, songs, video short animations. For written materials, we have recipes, articles, schedules, notes, letters, cards, so on and so forth. Okay? Now let's go to question number 9. According to Stephen Krashen, it's not Stephen, it's Stephen. It's my favorite. Pag nag-master's degree ka, sa ESL, kasi yan yung master's ko, English as a second language, araw-araw, babasahin mo talaga si Stephen Krashen. Paborito yan. sa master's degree na lesson. According to Stephen Krashen's input hypothesis, a world language teacher would best promote the development of students' vocabulary in the target language by wait, A, having students look up new words in a dictionary, B, posting lists of frequently used words in the classroom, C, emphasizing accurate pronunciation of new words, D, using new words with words that students know. Okay, what is the answer? According to Stephen Krashen's input hypothesis, a world language teacher would best promote the development of students' vocabulary in the target language by A, having students look up new words in a dictionary, B, posting lists of frequently used words in the classroom, C, emphasizing accurate pronunciation of new words, D, using new words along with words that students know. What is the answer? Okay, let me check your answer in the chat box. When I check your answers in the chat box, I use my cell phone. But I teach using my laptop because I'm having a difficult time. Okay, letter Susa said letter D, using new words along with words that students know. Dolores said letter D. Gracelda also said letter D. Josh, letter D. Okay, the correct answer is, of course, letter D. Using new words along with words that students already know. Okay? Now, let's talk about the input hypothesis by Stephen Krashen. The last time I checked, Stephen Krashen is still alive. He's still alive. Um, okay. Stephen Krashen is an American linguist and educational researcher. Okay? Now let's talk about his input hypothesis. Can you tell me briefly how this works? Yung input hypothesis ni Stephen Krashen. What is this notion called input according to the works of Krashen? Okay? Can you explain briefly, probably in a sentence or two, how this theory works? Must teach students one level above their actual level, according to Josh. Yes. So, Josh? What is the formula? What is the formula? As Josh was telling us earlier, it's you teach the students one level above their actual ability, language ability. Okay, that is the main essence of Stephen Krashen's input hypothesis. Okay, how does this work? Okay, pag ang bata, level 1, will you teach him or her level 1 lesson? Pag ang level ng bata, level 1, will you teach him level 1 lesson? Please answer in the chat box based on the input hypothesis by Stephen Krashen. Level 1 ang bata. So, the language that you teach him or her is also level 1? Ano yung sagot? Yes? Slightly more advanced? Regine? Some more answers. Ang level ng bata sa language 1. So, yung lesson mo, also level 1, according to Stu. Correct. Jonali, yes. It's always I plus 1. I is input plus 1. In other words, maybe 2, right? So, yung level na na ibibigay mo sa bata, yung input na ibibigay mo sa bata ay 2, hindi 1. Okay? Because pag 1, alam na niya yan. Right? He already knows. She already knows level 1. So it's time for you to teach the child one step higher as far as the degree of difficulty is concerned. It's always I. The formula is I plus 1. Yes, Regine, I plus 1. Because if you teach the student ng lesson na level 1, wala siyang he or she will not learn kasi alam na niya yan. That is his level already, or that is her level already. So you move higher. Yes, correct, Joanna, walang progress. Correct. Okay. We learn or acquire language by understanding language input one step higher than our current level. Okay? Ang lesson mo dapat ay one step higher sa nalalaman ng bata. That is the main essence of Stephen Krashen's input hypothesis. Now, let's go to question number 10. Time check, it's 6:47. Language register is the level of blank with which you speak. A, confidence. B, competence. C, seriousness. D, formality. What is the answer? Language register is the level of blank with which you speak. A, confidence. B, competence. C, seriousness. D, formality. Okay? Julian said letter D, formality. Dolores, letter D, formality. Neva, letter D, formality. Helen Grace, letter D, formality. Okay, language register is the level of formality. Okay, with which you speak. Okay, so if this is about the level of formality, if register is about the level of formality, then it falls under what subdivision of linguistics? Okay. Anong parte siya o anong category or anong branch ng linguistics siya na fall under semantics? Josh, semantics meaning this is formality. Josh, semantics ay meaning. This is not about meaning. This is about formality. Formality means the language that you use when you talk to the President of the Philippines is different from the language you use when you talk to a tricycle driver. That is formality. Pragmatics is context. Pragmatics is context. The language that you use when you talk to your professor is different from the language that you use when you talk to your classmate. Correct. Josh, it's social linguistics. It falls under social linguistics. The language and society, language and social functions, social situations. It's social linguistics. Okay? Register, the way a speaker uses language differently in different circumstances. That is register. Number 11. Which of the following is an example of mediated communication? A newscaster delivers the weather report on the 6 o'clock news. B, two friends gossip with one another. C, students work on a class project together. D, a politician addresses a nominating convention. Okay, what is the answer? Okay, which of the following is an example of mediated communication? A newscaster delivers the weather report on the 6 o'clock news. B, two friends gossip with one another. C, students work on a class project together. D, a politician addresses a nominating convention. What is the answer? Okay, let me check. Liz said letter A. Helen Grace, letter A. Renalyn, letter A. Leila Miguel, letter A. Okay, correct. It's letter A. A newscaster delivers the weather report. On the 6 o'clock news. Mediated communication. What is mediated communication? Does anyone know what mediated communication is? What? Does anyone know what mediated communication is? Okay. Communication with the use of technology. Correct. Okay. Communication carried out by the use of information communication technology. Okay. Ang letter, ano yung opposite? Okay, ano yung opposite ng mediated communication? May technology na ginagamit. So letter A, right? News report. There's the technology called television, right? Ano ang opposite ng mediated communication? Okay? Interpersonal? Yes, probably. It's face-to-face communication. Face-to-face communication is the opposite of mediated communication. O letter B, face-to-face, no? Dalawang friends nagchichismisan. Yeah, daily incorrect, face-to-face. Letter B is face-to-face. Two friends nagchichismisan. Letter C, face-to-face. Students work on a class project together. Letter C, face-to-face. A politician, when a politician addresses a nominating convention, it's face-to-face. Okay, the correct answer is letter A. A newscaster delivers the weather report on the 6 o'clock news. Now let's go to question number 12. In the grammar translation method of language teaching, learning is partly by translation to and from the target language. A, this statement is A, true. B, false. C, both true and false. D, neither true nor false. What is the answer? Please analyze the statement carefully. Please analyze the statement carefully. In the grammar translation method of language teaching, learning is partly by translation to and from the target language. Is this true or is this false? What is the answer? Sa grammar translation, okay, sa grammar translation method po ba, ang learning is done partly by translation? Partly? That's the point. Partly translation? Hindi. Because the main method, the main process, the main way used here is translation. So hindi partly, but wholly, right? That's the dominating process here, translation. So what makes this statement false is the word partly, right? But it's not partly, but wholly. Translation is the main process here. Translation from Filipino to English, from Cebuano to English. So the correct answer is letter B, false. Yes. Not partly but wholly or mainly. Pwede din, America, pwede din ang word na mainly. Now, let's go to question number 13. Here. A method, grammar translation method is a method of foreign or second language teaching, which makes use of translation and grammar study as the main teaching and learning activities. Now, let's go to question number 13. Children read together, rereading, retelling, innovating on the patterns, and attending to interesting or unfamiliar words. This is A. Reading aloud, B. Guided reading, C. Shared reading, D. All of these, E. None of these. What is the correct answer? Children read together, rereading, retelling, innovating on the patterns, and attending to interesting or unfamiliar words. This is A. Reading aloud, B. Guided reading, C. Shared reading, D. All of these, E. None of these. Okay? Given na talaga yung answer because it says sa STEM, it says here, read together. Therefore, this is shared reading. Right? Renelyn, hindi po reading aloud. It's shared reading. Together. Read together. So, shared reading. Children read together. Okay? Now, let's analyze or let's discuss shared reading principles. Okay. Is shared reading interactive? Please answer in the chat box. Is shared reading interactive? May interaction po bang nagaganap? Joanna said yes. Yes. Yes, kasi hindi siya nag-iisa. Meron siyang kasama. Pag meron siyang kasama, there is always interaction. Alam namang, ano ba sila? Mga pipi? Right? Together. Unless they are mute, right? Or unless wala silang dila. So may interaction. It's interactive. Correct niya ba? Together kasi. Okay. Students join in or share the reading of a book or other text. Now, what is the role of the teacher here? Next question. What is the role of the teacher in the shared reading process? Ano po ba yung role ng teacher? Model? Facilitator? Guide? Yes. Guide or support? Yes. Guide or supporter. Facilitator is also correct. Yes. The teacher guides, the teacher supports. Okay? Yes. I have all the questions noong LET 2010 hanggang 2019. Ang daming questions about reading, about the reading process. Ang daming question talaga about reading. And shared reading came out, I think, LET 2013. Ang daming question, the psychology of the reading process, about reading aloud, shared reading, ang dami. Please give more time sa reading. Reading problems, diagnosis and remediation of reading problems, ang daming tanong sa LET. LET 2010 to LET 2019. Okay? Again, give time sa reading process. Okay. Question number 14. there is no positive relationship between a speech and sound. Okay. This property of language is referred to as A. Arbitrariness. B. Recursiveness. C. Displacement. D. Transference. Okay? Arbitrariness, recursiveness, displacement, transference. What is the answer? Arbitrariness? Jesse, arbitrariness. Venus, arbitrariness. Jessica, arbitrariness. Okay. Okay, wait. Okay, here. I want to zero in on arbitrariness because that is the correct answer. Okay. It says here, wala pong relasyon ang word sa sound. Okay? Wala pong relasyon ang word sa sound. This is arbitrariness. For example, I'm showing this sa screen. Ang bata, tinanong ka, teacher, bakit po tinawag itong pentel pen? Bakit po marker ang tawag dito? Okay? Paano po sila nag-decide na tawagin itong marker at hindi bag? Okay? It's arbitrariness. Wala lang. Right? They just came together and they just decided, starting today, we will call this marker. That is arbitrariness. Pero walang relasyon ang word na marker sa sound na marker. Okay? That's arbitrariness. Wait. Chat. I'm checking the chat. I'm sorry. Kasi when I read your chat, I'm using my phone. So, nasa table ko. I have to look down a lot of times. Okay? Yes. I think ang corned means parang inasinan, something like that. Pero hindi siya, corned there does not mean corn na mais. Corned is like a process na parang you put salt there. It's a cooking process, I think. Pero it has nothing to do with mais na corned beef. Okay? Arbitrariness, language is arbitrary. It means they just, yung mga ninuno na nag-start ng English language, they just gathered together and they just agreed. Starting today, we will call this marker. Ganon. Arbitrariness. Pero walang relasyon ang word sa sound. Pero, ladies and gentlemen, mayroong exemption. Ano ba? May mga words, okay, na hindi sakop ng arbitrariness kasi these words have positive relationship sa kanilang sound. Ano ang tawag doon? Anong word sa English ang hindi sakop ng arbitrariness? Kasi ang arbitrary, there is no positive relation between a sound and a word. Okay? Now my question is, there are words in English that have positive relationship between the sound and the word itself. Anong words yun? Can you tell me? And can you write your answer in the chat box kung anong words yun? Yes, Josh, ang thud. Anong klaseng words yan? Anong klaseng word yan? Correct. Onomatopoeia. Correct. Okay. Onomatopoeia. Correct. Ano naman yung recursiveness? Recursiveness is another language feature. Another language characteristic. Recursiveness. What is recursiveness? What is recursiveness? Recursiveness means pwede mong balikan. Okay, pinagtagpi-tagpi. Okay? Pwede mong balik-balikan. Okay? Now, let's go to arbitrariness. There is no connection between the word and its sound. Question number 15. In blank, information is not just translated from one language to another, but rather is adapted to effectively convey the same meaning in the target language. A. Cultural adaptation. B. Localization. C. Contextualization. D. Indigenization. This is LET 2012. This question is LET 2012. In blank, information is not just translated from one language to another, but rather is adapted to effectively convey the same meaning in the target language. America, where did you get the concept of cultural adaptation? Adapted to effectively convey the same meaning in the target language. This is yung concept, yung foreign concept, para mas maintindihan ng bata, inadapt mo sa culture ng bata. O, ano ang tawag doon? Is it cultural adaptation in language teaching? Yes, it's localization. It's localization, letter B. Okay. For example, instead of using Greek mythology, para mas maintindihan ng bata, instead of using Greek mythology, instead of using the Greek gods and goddesses, instead of using Venus or Pallas Athena or Pivos Apollo, why not use mga gods and goddesses sa Philippine mythology? Right? Mariang Makiling, for example. Right? So this is localization. This is localization. In your lessons, this is LET 2013, I think. Yeah, LET 2013. Let me check. Wait. This is LET 2015 number for English majors. LET 2015 number 6 question. Now, this is number 6 question sa LET 2015. Okay? The question says, examples, activities, songs, poems, stories, and illustrations are based on local culture, history, and reality. The correct answer is localization. Here, for example, here is an example of localization in language teaching. She blank 5 persimmons. Okay. A, buy. B, bought. Na-confuse ang bata. Kasi, ano ba yung persimmons na yan? Right? Yung estudyante mo has never met this word. Ano ba to? What kind of bacterium is this? What kind of microbe? Ano ba yan? Microbio ba yan? Kasi, hindi siya familiar. Kasi foreign. Okay? So, instead of persimmons, using the concept of localization, ano ang i-replace mo? Para mas maintindihan ng bata yung lesson mo. Anong pwedeng i-replace dyan? Tinapay? Correct? Apple. Ang apple, sobrang Amerikano naman yan. Joanna? Hmm. Hindi afford ng ano yan, ng taga-probinsya. Bayabas, correct. She bought 5 guavas. Pwede. Okay. Or she bought, she blank 5 calamansi. Right? Yeah. Localization. Mas maintindihan ng bata. Okay. Santol, correct. Okay. Sa grammar lessons mo, sa mga example sentences mo, use local products. Okay? Things around you. Number 16. The structural approach to language teaching sees language as a complex of A. Behavioral rules, B. Phonological rules, C. Lexical rules, D. Grammatical rules. What is the answer? Okay, the structural approach to language teaching sees language as a complex of A. Behavioral rules, B. Phonological rules, C. Lexical rules, D. Grammatical rules. Remember, structural approach to language teaching. Jessica said letter D. Venus said letter D. Jessie said letter D. Okay. When you talk about structure, structural approach, structure, behavior ba yun? Letter A. Sound ba yun? Phonological, letter B. Letter C, lexical. When you say lexicon, words, vocabulary ba yung structure? Or letter D, grammar, structure? What is the answer? When you say structure, it's grammatical rules. Letter D. Grammar is the structure of language. It's not behavior. It's not sound, phonological, letter B. It's not vocabulary, letter C, lexical. It's grammatical, letter D. Grammar, correct. Pag structure, it's grammar. Letter A, behavioral, hindi pwede. Behavior has nothing to do with structure. Letter B, phonological, it's sound. No. Letter C, lexical, words. No, lexicon, words, vocabulary. It has nothing to do with structure. So the correct answer is letter D, grammar. Structural approach simply means teaching the basic structures of English to the students. And these structures are grammatical structures. 17. Chronemics refers to the interpretation of messages involving which sense. Chronemics refers to the interpretation of messages involving which sense. A. Smell. B. Taste. C. Time. D. Self-awareness. Chronemics. What is the answer? America, time. Regine, time. Joanna, letter C, time. 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 Okay, that is the correct answer. Time. You interpret messages using the sense of time. Okay? Kasi, ang time, although there are no words involved, it can give you a lot of meanings, right? Right? How would you know that someone likes you, that someone loves you? He spends or she spends more time with you, right? You interpret that when somebody spends more time with you, when somebody, yes, you interpret that as that person likes you, that person loves you, right? You interpret messages involving time. Right. Yes, Daylin, time affects communication. That is correct. Sa party, bakit more time ang more time sa kanya kaysa sa'yo, right? You met somebody sa party, you were with your friend, but madaming time uh, ang ginugol niya sa friend mo at wala sa'yo. Because, that will give you something, as, well, probably the person likes your friend more than he likes you, right? Time affects communication. That is the point. Or time is a value indicator. How would you know if someone values you? If he or she spends more time with you. That is chronemics. Or sa teacher, okay? Or sa teacher, you spend more time talking about this topic compared to that topic. It means this topic is more important to you, right? Correct. Refers to the study of how time affects communication. 18. The teaching of English for specific purposes, or ESP, has generally been seen as a separate activity within English language teaching. A. This statement is A. True, B. False, C. Both A and B, D. Neither A nor B. What is the answer? Is ESP a separate activity, a separate field within English language teaching? Is this true or is this false? America, false? Some more answers? Friends, remember when you check the coverage, the topics given by PRC, ESP is included. ESP is English for specific purposes. True? Jesse said true. Jomar said true. True? Yes, the correct answer is true. That is why, sabi ko, sa coverage, sa list of topics na binigay ng PRC, nakaseparate doon ang ESP, ang English for specific purposes. And it's a separate subject for us English majors, right? We know we have a separate subject sa ESL, or another separate subject sa teaching English as a second language. And meron ding separate subjects sa ESP. So the correct answer is true. It is a separate topic. It is a separate activity. Now, it is a field of its own. So ESP has two main subdivisions. We have professional English and academic English. Well, you know what academic English is, the language we use to survive school, right? In fact, sa senior high, there is such a subject as English for academic and professional purposes, EAPP. That is academic English. How about professional English? When you say professional English, it has a lot of subdivisions. We have English for lawyers, English for engineers, English for doctors, English for accountants. That's English for professional purposes. And the umbrella field here is ESP, or English for specific purposes. Napakalawak ng sakop ng ESP. Kaya, it has become a separate field. Now, number 19. Sorry, the answer is already there. Which of the following comes first in the development of a child? A, writing. B, reading. C, speaking. D, all of these. E, none of these. The correct answer is already there. It's speaking. Okay, the answer is already there, speaking. It says here I only have 1 minute left. Let's just wait for Zoom to end, then we will rejoin. Again, Zoom will end anytime soon. Please rejoin. Let's just wait for Zoom to end. So babies start talking anywhere between 9 and 14 months. But babies start learning how to speak right after they are born, mainly by watching and listening to you and other people. And what do you call the words that babies utter right after birth? Vegetative words, right? We discussed this before. Now let's go to question number 20. Meaning is in A, words, B, people, C, situations, D, school. What is the answer? Where does meaning lie? A, in words, B, people, C, situations, D, school. What is the answer? Meaning is in situations? Venus said letter B, people. Nieva said letter A, words. Helen, letter A, words. They lean words. Meaning is in words talaga, no? Meaning is in. If meaning is in words, then wala na sanang branch of linguistics na semantics. Kasi fixed na ang meaning sa words, right? The fact that semantics exists means that meaning is not in words. Oh. Situation? Nieva, correct. Meaning is in people. Meaning is in people. The concept of meaning is in people. The concept of meaning is in people, not in words, means that it is people who give the significance of a message. Again, the concept of meaning is in people, not in words, means that it is people who give the significance of a message. For example, you are listening to a politician. The way you perceive what the politician said is different from the way your neighbor perceived what he or she said, right? But ikaw nasaktan sa sinabi ng politiko, yung neighbor mo hindi nasaktan, right? So the concept of meaning is in people, not in words. Means that it is people who give the significance of a message, right? Meanings are in people, not words. People give words their meaning. People often interpret words differently. Correct. Yung isang marites, iba yung pagkakaintindi. Yung isa naman, iba. Right? No? People often interpret words differently. A common communication error takes place when we assume that everyone attaches the same meanings to words that we do. Right? We need to clarify meaning when communicating with others. Okay? Wait, let me mute people here. Okay. Question number 21. The total physical response, or TPR, method to language teaching works by having the learner A. respond to simple commands, B. answer a lot of quizzes, C. reflect on his motivations, D. talk to the people around him or her. This is TPR. Okay, wait. Okay, the total physical response method to language teaching works by having the learner A. respond to simple commands, B. answer a lot of quizzes, C. reflect on his motivations, D. talk to the people around him. What is TPR? That is the point. Okay, wait. Zoom. Okay, the correct answer is, okay, if Daylene, if you said using physical movement, alin dito ang nagsasabing may physical movement? Is it A, B, C, or D? The correct answer is letter A. Respond to simple commands. Yes, correct. Letter A. TPR. Students make connections to words, phrases, sentences by creative physical movements. It means that the students respond to simple commands. For example, open the door. So the student will stand up, go to the door, and open it, right? Or jog for 3 minutes, or clap your hands. Okay? That's TPR. Nagtuturo ka ng um, language points, at the same time, may pinapagawa ka. Right? So, mas naiintindihan ng bata kasi involve yung body nila, right? What is total physical response? TPR is a language teaching method in which learners listen to instructions. Huh? Open the door, clap your hands, jog for 3 minutes. These are instructions in the target language and carry out a sequence of physical actions. That's TPR. Now let's go to question number 22. In the task-based language learning, it does not matter whether a particular task is interesting to the learner or not. The important is it is finished. The task is finished. The learner finishes the task. This is A, true, B, false, C, both A and B, D, neither A nor B. What is the answer? Okay lang na hindi sa task-based learning approach, okay lang na boring yung task. Ang importante that the child finishes the task. A, true, B, false, C, both true and false, B, neither true nor false. Okay? Task-based approach, task-based language learning. Okay, the correct answer is letter B, false. Okay, let's analyze the task-based language learning. In the task-based, correct, Jessie, pag boring, there is no learning. Nagiging mechanical, no? The task, the target, pag boring, the target of the child is just to finish the task without learning. Yes. Okay, let's analyze. In the task-based approach, okay, what is given to the student? Ano ang binibigay ng teacher sa mga bata sa task-based approach? Yes, America, task should be motivating. Ano yung binibigay ng teacher sa task-based approach? Activities or tasks, very basic. Now, the question is it okay if the task is not interesting to the students? The answer is no, right? Dapat engaging, dapat interesting. If the task is not interesting, what does it mean? Pag hindi interesado ang mga bata sa task, anong ibig sabihin nun? It means that the students cannot relate to it. Okay? So, not within their interest. So, pag ganon, anong gagawin ng teacher? Change the task. Stop it. Change. Okay? (23) Reading comprehension is also called A. Textual understanding, B. Linguistic facility, C. Reading awareness, D. Comprehension level. Reading comprehension is also called what? What is the other term for reading comprehension? Correct. Comprehension level? Is reading comprehension the same as comprehension level? Ang isa reading comprehension, ang isa level yun eh. Ang isa, reading comprehension is comprehension. Comprehension level is level. Oh. Correct. Textual understanding. Because comprehension is understanding and not level. Okay, the correct answer is letter A. Textual understanding is understanding the precise meaning of a text. Question number 24. According to the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, language has very little effect on the way we perceive the world. B. Middle-class speakers see the world more accurately than lower-class speakers. C. We think through language. The language allows us to lie to one another. What is the correct answer? Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Letter C. We think through language. Helen Grace, letter C. Okay, the correct answer is letter C, of course. Now, let's discuss. I am making things very, very easy for you. Mas madaling maintindihan kasi these concepts are complicated concepts. Right? Ano ba itong Sapir-Whorf hypothesis? First question. What is the other term for Sapir-Whorf hypothesis? Tinatawag din itong ano? Ano ba yung sinabi ng English professor ninyo when you were in college? The other term for Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Josh? No, not sociocultural. Correct. Stella, linguistic relativity. Correct. It's linguistic relativity hypothesis. Correct. Okay, now let's discuss linguistic relativity hypothesis or Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Now, ayon sa hypothesis na ito, what influences our thought and behavior? Ano po yung nag-i-influence sa ating thought, sa ating behavior? According language, correct, Josh, language. Language influences our thought and our behavior. Language controls our thought. Language controls our behavior. That's how powerful language is. Now, let's talk about linguistic relativity. Relativity means depende kung saan ka. Depende kung ano ang sitwasyon mo. That's being relative, right? Language controls culture. Language controls thought. Language controls behavior. Example. I will give you an example. I don't know. Sa Tagalog, I don't know how this is called in Filipino. Yung pag nagsaing ka ng pag nagsaing ka, yung sa yung sa bottom na matigas, anong tawag yun? Anong tawag nun sa Filipino? Ah. yung itim na matigas? Ah, ah, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this. Ano? Tutong? Sorry. Because in Hiligaynon, in Ilonggo, we call it dukot. Yeah.
Tutong, sir.
Tutong. Correct. Sinong Ilonggo dito? Sinong Hiligaynon dito? Who is a Hiligaynon speaker here? Meron ba? Yeah, dukot. In Iloilo, we call it dukot. Now. Okay, correct. Now, dukot. Yeah, dukot. We call this dukot in Iloilo. Now, question. Sometimes students ask, Sir, ano yung English ng tutong? Ano ang English ng dukot? Ano ang English ng tutong? Oh, that is the question. Students ask this, I'm sure. What is the answer? Ano ang English ng tutong? Or ano ang English ng dukot? Burnt rice? When you say English, dapat exact, Josh, when you say English, dapat exact translation, one word lang yun. Yung scorched rice, you combine, you describe it. Hindi, translation, I'm talking about translation. When you, pag sinabi mong scorched rice, hindi ka nag-translate. You describe it. You describe it as something scorched, right? So no. Right? So it's not, there is no direct translation. There is no English. Because, why? So you tell your student, I'm sorry, there is no direct translation, there is no exact translation of tutong sa English. Why? Because of the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, because of linguistic relativity, because ano ang kinalaman ng Sapir-Whorf hypothesis dito? Ano ang kinalaman ng linguistic relativity dito? Walang translation because it is not part of their culture. Correct? Rice is not a part of their cultures. The culture of the English people, the culture of the American people, hindi part ang rice ng culture nila. Romeo, when you say burnt rice, it's not direct translation, it's description. You described it as something burnt. Right? I'm asking for a direct translation. Wala. Because rice is not part of their culture. You call this linguistic relativity. In our case, ang dami. In our case, ang daming terms sa rice. Oh, di ba? Sa Tagalog, in Ilonggo, ang daming terms ng rice. May kanon, may kalokalo. Kalokalo is sinangag. May dukot. Pag hindi pagbasa yung rice, lagdos. Ang daming bahaw, correct? Bahaw pag nalipasan is bahaw. Yes, sangag, lagdos. Ang daming terms because it is part of our culture, relative to our culture. Kapog. Yes. You call this linguistic relativity. Okay? Yes, sa Bisaya marami because it is part of your culture. Right? Because rice is part of your culture. Language, control affects thought. Language affects culture. Okay. Oh, ibahin natin. Let's go to the culture of the Americans, of the English people. Now, ibahin, let's change the situation. Sa atin, Ang snow, we only have one term for it. Snow lang, di ba? Snow is not a part of our culture. So, isa lang ang term natin, snow lang. Pero sa kanila, ang daming terms sa snow. Pag medyo manipis na parang halo-halo, what do you call that? Pag manipis yung yung yellow, ano ang tawag doon? Pag manipis yung ice, anong tawag doon? You call that sleet. S-L-E-E-T. Pag parang bato, pag bato, you call that hail, right? Hail. Hail. Or hailstone, right? Hail. Ang daming terms nila. But in our case, whether it is fine or it is as big as a stone, isa na ang term natin, snow lang, right? Because it is not part of our culture. Okay? Ang hirap kasi hindi part ng culture natin ang snow. Isa na ang word natin, snow lang. Whether it is thin or whether it is as big as a stone. Okay? Yung Eskimo, natives ng Alaska, they have many terms for snow, right? They have wet snow, they have clinging snow, they have frosty snow because it is part of their culture. You call this Sapir-Whorf hypothesis or linguistic relativity. I hope it is clear. Next. 25. What is denouement? Okay? Wait. A, the ending of a tragedy. B, the ending of a comedy. C, the climax in a tragedy. D, the climax in a comedy. What is the answer? Denouement. Okay? Okay. The correct, okay, let's qualify our answer here. The original notion of a denouement is it is the ending of a comedy. But in recent studies, okay, pwede mo na siya i-apply both comedy and tragedy. Okay? The original notion of denouement is that it is the ending of a comedy. Okay? But recently, it applies to both comedy and tragedy. Okay. So, yes, correct. Ngayon, Jessa, ending of the story na lang, hindi na natin i-qualify whether it's a tragedy or it's a comedy as long as it is a story. But the original notion is that it is the ending of a comedy. Okay? A denouement means that all problems within the plot have been solved and the story can end. Okay. Next. 27. ESP research is an identifiable component of A, comparative linguistic research, B, social linguistic research, C, descriptive linguistic research, D, applied linguistic research. What is the answer? ESP. Now, the question here is, ESP falls under which branch of linguistics? Applied linguistics, correct. So letter D, applied linguistics. 27. The focus of the communicative language teaching method is to enable the learner to A, satisfy all his or her language needs. B, communicate effectively and appropriately. C, do well in school. D, express himself or herself in a grand manner. What is the answer? Correct, letter B. Communicate effectively and appropriately. Letter B. Okay, let's analyze CLT. CLT now is the most famous, I think, 'language teaching methods. Okay. What does CLT emphasize? Okay, please answer my questions and write your answer in the chat box. Ano yung emphasis ng CLT? Hmm? What is the emphasis of communication? Yes, basically interaction. CLT emphasizes interaction. Correct, America, interaction. Now, next question. What does CLT want to achieve? Is it communicative competence or linguistic competence? Is it communicative competence or linguistic competence? Communicative competence to communicate, right? It doesn't matter whether your grammar is wrong or your grammar is right as long as you can communicate. That's communicative competence. Linguistic competence means dapat perfect ang grammar mo. Dapat walang mistakes ang grammar mo or ang vocabulary mo. So, ano yung emphasis ng, ano ang gustong i-achieve ng CLT? Is it communicative competence or linguistic competence? CLT, linguistic competence? Dapat perfect grammar sa CLT? Communicative competence, correct. Okay lang na mali yung grammar as long as you can express. That is CLT. Communicative competence. Now, next question. Sa anong dekada ipinanganak ang CLT? When was CLT developed? Anong dekada? 1950s, 1970s? I think anong dekada? You answer first. 1980s, correct. 1983, 1984 by Canal and Swain, right? 1984, 19, Rochelle, 1900, too early naman. Mga Espanyol pa ang nasa Pilipinas. Americans na. Yeah. 1980s, Rochelle, 1980s. 1984 or 1983 by Canal and Swain. Okay? Matching print to sounds is called A. Phonemic awareness. B. Phonic awareness. C. Both A and B. D. Neither A nor B. If you match print to sound, what kind of awareness is this? A. Is it phonemic awareness? Is it phonic awareness? What is your answer? Conaifa, phonic awareness. Daylin, phonemic awareness. Jesusana, phonic awareness. Now, okay, now let's distinguish between phonic awareness and phonemic awareness. Okay? Friends, when you say phonemic, phonemes, right? When you say phonemic awareness, letter A, ang focus ng phonemic awareness is sounds lang, phoneme, sounds lang. But sabi dito, you match print and sound. So phonemic awareness is not the correct answer kasi ang focus ng phonemic awareness is only sound. Pero ang focus ng phonic awareness is letters and sounds. Dapat, alam mo, basahin ang letra and produce the correct sound. That is phonic awareness. Phonic awareness is print plus sound. Phonemic awareness, only sounds. Okay? The correct answer is letter B. The natural approach to language teaching was propounded by A. Noam Chomsky, B. Robert Lado, C. Stephen Krashen, D. Ferdinand de Saussure. Natural approach, Stephen Krashen, correct. We discussed this already. What is the language used by the teacher? Only English, only the target language. Okay. pero ang students, they are allowed to use, ang teachers are not allowed to use other languages except English. Pero ang students, they are allowed to use their native language. Ang hindi allowed, teacher. Question: are errors in speech corrected right away? Kino-correct right away ang error sa speech, sa natural approach? Wait. No. Hindi. Errors are not corrected right away unless it causes severe damage. Pag medyo damaging yung error, kino-correct agad. Pero pag pwedeng tolerate na yung error. Okay? Hindi. Errors are not corrected right away. You only correct errors that are damaging. Okay? Paano bigay ka ng sitwasyon? Pag ano yung mga malalaking errors? Okay, because there are two kinds of errors eh. There are two kinds of errors. One is error of competence and second is error of performance. Pag alam ng teacher na mali yung bata because error of performance, okay lang yon. Ano ang ibig sabihin ng error of performance? Mali yung English kasi pagod. Pero alam ng teacher na alam ng bata, mali lang kasi pagod or worried or nakalimutan. But the teacher knows that the student knows how to give the correct structure. That is pwedeng that's error of performance. Siguro ang i-correct right away ang error of competence. Hindi talaga alam ng bata. Okay? Yung tolerable pag error of performance. Nagkamali lang, alam ng bata ang English structure, pero nagkamali lang kasi nakalimutan o nag-away sila ng kanyang jowa, kaya hindi maka-focus, ganon. Okay? Error of performance. Yung unintentional, correct. Okay. Sagabal. Oh, wait. Kaya pa. I don't know. Oh, wait. This is number 30. A written language is A, an individual creation, B, a spiritual creation, C, a cultural creation, D, a natural creation. What is the answer? Not right away, kasi po mag-discourage yung students. Kaya pwede ding, sa pagko-correct ng error, pwedeng parking. Parking means, ilista mo lang sa gilid ng blackboard ang mga mali, ang mga mistakes na narinig mo, then you can correct right away. Hindi na agad-agad kasi madi-discourage you. You are correct. A written language is, letter C, a cultural creation. It's a cultural creation. Language is culturally bound. Number 31, according to Suggestopedia, positive suggestion, A, makes difficult grammar structures easy to understand. B, allows our brain to expand. C, makes language learning fun. D, stimulates language learning. Suggestopedia, friends. Okay? Suggestopedia. Okay, the correct answer is letter D. Stimulates language learning. Suggestion. It stimulates language. It's not positive suggestion does not make learning. It makes language learning fun, but that is not the main point of Suggestopedia. Positive suggestion stimulates language learning. Okay. So Suggestopedia is a blending, right? Of what two words? Suggestion plus pedagogy, right? Suggestion plus pedagogy, Suggestopedia. Okay, who introduced Suggestopedia? Who introduced Suggestopedia? It's George Lozanov, a Bulgarian psychiatrist. Loza, it's not Loni, it's George Lozanov, a Bulgarian psychiatrist. Okay, anong dekada? Lozanov, anong dekada? Anong dekada? 1970s, correct. 1970s. Now, okay, here's my question. According to Suggestopedia, when do students become more receptive to learning new information? Kailan nagiging receptive ang mga bata to learn new information? When they are relaxed, correct? When they are relaxed, okay? And when they are comfortable, okay? Now, let's pursue that idea of being relaxed, Josh. When they are relaxed or when they are comfortable. So, where do students sit? Sa classroom, using Suggestopedia. Saan umupo yung mga bata? Sa desk ba? Saan? Yung inuupuan ng mga bata? Either the teacher provides comfortable armchair, or pwede din, yes, Jonalyn, pwede din sa floor. Floor na may mga unan, di ba na? Di ba na Ilonggo. Okay, may mga unan, yes. Hindi sa desk. No? Na desk na karaniwang makikita sa classroom, hindi. Now, describe the classroom environment. Yung lights. Sa Suggestopedia, ano yung lights? Lights off? Off talaga? Dilim? Well ventilated? Pag well ventilated, makaka-relax ba yung bata? Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sige.
Yes, sir.
Yes po.
Yes, sir.
Suggestopedia. So, sabi natin, dapat dim ang lights. Wait. Okay? And ano pa? Ano pa yung mga physical features ng classroom? Dim lights, ano pa? Dapat may to complete the whole experience ng bata sa Suggestopedia. May mga unan sa floor, dim lights, ano pa? Naka-aircon. Dapat may soft music na naka-play. That is the suggested classroom setup sa Suggestopedia to make the students relaxed and comfortable. Okay? Soft music or relaxing music. In other words, ang setup ng isang classroom sa Suggestopedia ay parang spa. Parang nasa spa yung mga bata. Relax, makakatulog ang mga bata. Yes. Okay. It stimulates language learning. Okay, wait. Someone wants to enter Zoom. Next, number 32. Which of the following behaviors are part of active listening? A. Maintain eye contact. B. Nodding and making eye contact. C. Sorry, wait. Admit. Asking for clarification. D. All of these. E. None of these. Active listening. When you say active listening, you respond, you react, you provide immediate feedback, you are attentive. So the correct answer is all of these. Letter D. Active listening involves listening with all your senses. Question number 33. Content standards describe A. The knowledge and skills that students should attain. B. Professional qualities of the teacher. C. Motivations of the students. D. Policies implemented by the school leaders. Content standards. Okay, when you say content standards, these are the things that, what students should know and be able to know. What, not how. What students should know and be able to do. Contents, topics. So the correct answer is letter A. The knowledge and skills that students should attain. Correct. America, knowledge and skills. Lisa, is the letter A is the correct answer. Content standards, specifications about all learners are expected to know and be able to do. 34. It is one of the least common processes of word formation in English. I think the English here is quite off. I don't know what happened. But coinage, please forgive my bad English here. Probably I was just tired when I made this PowerPoint. It is one of the least common processes of word formation in English. The least common, one of the least common processes of word formation in English is coinage. That's the correct English. Simply, it means the invention of totally new terms. Sorry, the answer, I don't know what happened, but the answer is already there in the stem. In other words, there is no question here. The correct answer is coinage, the least common process of word formation. Yeah, probably I was too tired already when I made this question. Coinage. Why least common? Kasi sa coinage, you have to make a new word. Unlike sa blending na the words are already existing, pagsamasamahin lang. Sa compounding, the words are already existing. Sa affixation, you just add prefixes and suffixes, right? Andyan na yung words. Pero sa coinage, you have to make a new word. That's why it's the least common process of word formation. The other term for coinage is neologism. Another term for coinage, neologism. 35. Humanistic language teachers believe that blank go hand in hand in the learning process. Humanistic, makatao. Humanistic. A. Language and literature. B. Speaking and writing. C. Knowledge and feelings. D. Words and actions. When you say humanistic, the whole being, no? Yung lahat ng pagkatao ng bata, engaged in learning. When you say lahat ng pagkatao ng bata, hindi lang utak, hindi lang brain, pati na yung heart. Hindi lang utak, pati puso. No? Humanism. Not just cognitive, but affective. The correct answer is letter C, knowledge and feelings. Okay? Knowledge and feelings. So what should be the attitude of a teacher? Dapat ang teacher caring. What What should be the proper setup ng environment? Nurturing. Okay? 36. Elton connects the book to the real world, self-monitors for understanding. When you say self-monitor, ladies and gentlemen, when you say self-monitor, pag may mali ka, minomonitor mo yung sarili mo. Parang mali ako. Right? I think I have to correct myself. That is self-monitoring. Elton connects the book to the real world, self-monitors for understanding, and tests hypotheses. He is a fluent reader, B, an independent reader, C, an emergent reader, D, a developing reader. What is the correct answer? It is already the highest level. Kasi, highest level, kasi kinokorek na niya ang sarili niya. It is alam na niya. Right? The highest level is independent reader. Correct. Letter B, independent, is the highest reading level. Independent reading level is the highest level at which a reader has adequate background knowledge for the topic and can access text very quickly and with very few errors. (37) Which is not an example of a performance-based assessment in language? A, composing a few sentences in an open-ended short response. B, developing a thorough analysis in an essay. C, completing an original research paper. D, taking a grammar test. When you say performance, the student has to produce something. Performance-based assessment means the student has to produce something. Okay. Alin dito ang hindi performance-based? Letter A, my product ba dito? Yes. Composing a few sentences. Letter B, my product ba dito? Yes. Developing a thorough analysis. Letter C, my product ba dito? Yes. Completing an original research. Letter D, wala. Nag-take lang siya ng exam. So the correct answer is letter D. Nag-take lang siya ng exam. Walang ginawang produkto. Right? Performance-based means the student has to produce something. Performance-based assessment measures students' ability to apply the skills and knowledge learned. 38. Murasaki Shikibu's novel, The Tale of Genji, would provide perspective in a study of which of the following aspects of Japanese history? A, the relationship between feudal lords and peasant farmers of the Kamakura era. B, the customs and cultural values of urban life during the Tokugawa period. C, the ethical codes of the samurai. And D, the lifestyle and values of court society during the Heian period. What is the correct answer? This is Japanese literature. It came out in the late 2006, I guess. Correct answer is D, the lifestyles and values of court society during this period. Why is the tale of Genji very important in world literature? Because it is the... What is the importance of the tale of Genji in world literature? Can you type the answer? Bakit sobrang mahalaga ang Tale of Genji ni Murasaki Shikibu sa world literature? Ano yung answer? Why is this even mentioned? Why is this even mentioned in some of the major literature books? Literature textbooks, because the Tale of Genji is often called the world's first novel. Written 1,000 years ago, the Japanese epic The Tale of Genji is often called the world's first novel. Yes, Konaifa, the first novel. 39. Art is twice removed from reality. Who was the first literary critic who said this? A, Plato. B, Aristotle. C, Longinus. D. Horace. Correct. Plato. What does it mean? Art is twice removed from reality. Ang ibig sabihin ni Plato, this is literary criticism, it came out in the left. Anong ibig sabihin ng art is twice removed from reality? That art include, literature belongs to the arts, right? When you say the arts, humanities, and literature is part of the humanities, the arts. Ang ibig sabihin ni Plato, when he said art is twice removed from reality, art is fake, removed from reality. Art is not true. Literature is not true. It's only an imitation of reality. Right? Imitation to imitation. Correct. It's just, literature is just an illusion. Gawa-gawa. Produkto ng imagination ng tao. That is what is meant by Plato when he said art is twice removed from reality. Hindi totoo, fake. This basically meant that poetry was an imitation of reality. Hence, we can say that literature is removed from reality. Number 40. Dyslexics are characterized mainly by difficulty learning, A, to write, B, to listen, C, to read, D, to speak. What is the answer? Dyslexia. Dyslexia is a reading problem. Correct. Letter C. It is a learning disorder that involves difficulty reading due to problems identifying speech sounds and learning how they relate to letters and words. 41. In Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus, what does Faustus promise to the devil? In exchange for great knowledge, riches, and power for a period of 24 years. Okay? Binarter ni Dr. Faustus sa devil ang kanyang in exchange of power, knowledge, for a period of 24 years. A. Body, B. House, C. Soul, D. Horse. Soul, correct. Okay? He was a learned scholar, feels that none of his many achievements has provided him with satisfaction. Hindi po siya satisfied sa, sa mga achievements niya. So he yearned to gain more knowledge. So he turned to magic in the hope of finding a way to transcend human limitations. He yielded his soul only if the devil can provide him with an experience so rewarding that he will want the moment to linger forever. 42. The self-reflexive aspect of language means A. The clever use of language, B. The dictionary as the absolute arbiter of meaning, C. The limitations of words being used to explain other words, D. The uselessness of language. Reflexive, self-reflexive aspect of language. Ang 41, his soul. Okay? What do you mean by self-reflexive aspect of language? Reflexive means the same, right? Reflexive pronoun. I, myself, you, yourself, he, himself, she, herself. Reflexive pronoun yan. So self-reflexive aspect of language means the limitations of words being used to explain other words. Letter C. You use language to talk about language. What do you use to talk about language? Also language. Self-reflexive aspect. 43. What is the meaning of the term hamartia as used by Aristotle in his theory of tragedy? This came out in the left 2009. Yes. What is the meaning of the term Hamartia? A. Working of fate against the hero. B. The tragic end of the tragedy. C. A weak trait in the character of the hero. D. All of these. E. None of these. Hamartia. Tragic end. America. Ang hamartia is ang weakness ng hero that leads to his or her downfall. Okay? Yan ang hamartia. Letter C, a weak trait in the character of the hero. Ano yung bad trait? Ano yung weakness ng hero that that led to his or her downfall? That is hamartia. For example, ano ang hamartia ni Samson sa Bible? Samson and Delilah. His hair? More than his hair. More than his hair. Yeah, his hair. Yeah, that's the physical. But we are talking about trait. Trait. We are talking of hamartia is not something physical. It is behavioral, right? It is something moral. Woman, yeah, pagkababaero, passion for women. Passion for women, right? Yeah, feelings to delight. Yeah, passion for women. Sa Macbeth, ano yung hamartia ni Macbeth that led to his downfall? Sa Macbeth, ano ang hamartia ni Macbeth? Correct. Ambition, sobrang ambisyoso. Ambition for power, right? Greed for power. It's greed for power. Okay. Greed for power sa Macbeth. Okay. Sa Oedipus, ano ang hamartia ni Oedipus? Remember, Oedipus killed his father and married his mother. Pinatay ni Oedipus ang kanyang tatay at pinakasalan niya ang kanyang nanay. What is the hamartia of Oedipus? Pride? Josh, hamartia is also called hubris. You are correct in that sense. Pag pinatay mo yung tatay mo at pinakasalan mo ang nanay mo, do you think that Oedipus knew his roots? Alam ba niya? It says here that in Oedipus, not knowing his roots, okay, was his hamartia. Hindi niya alam ang kanyang roots. Or weak. Kahit alam niya, assuming alam niya ang kanyang roots, but it was weak. Okay? 44. Which of these is not one of the main concerns of ESP? A. Needs analysis. B. Text analysis. C. Preparing learners to communicate effectively in the tasks prescribed by their study or work situation. D. All of these. E. None of these. Which of these is not one of the main concerns of ESP? The answer? Correct answer is none of these. All these things are main concerns of ESP. Needs analysis, right? Dapat alam mo kung ano ang kailangan ng mga bata. No? Text analysis is also a main concern in ESP. And preparing learners to communicate effectively, yes. The correct answer is letter E, none of these. 45. Sorry, the answer is already given. Sorry. Communicative language teaching has been advocated for several decades based on an understanding of language learners as the correct answer is both cognitive and social beings. Letter C. That's correct. Cognitive because language, sa communicative language competence, you have to speak, right? You have to communicate. And communication basically is a cognitive act, right? Because you have to think. And in communicative language teaching, you have to socialize, right? You have to be effective communicate. You have to be an effective communicator in a social setup. So social beings as well. So the correct answer is letter C. 46. In language testing, a scoring guide, this is very easy. Used to evaluate the quality of students, scoring guide is correct. Rubric, very easy. Is a scoring tool that explicitly represents the performance, expectations for an assignment or piece of work. 47. Oh, sorry, the answer is already there. In Delheim's Ethnography of Communication, a speech community is letter A. The correct answer is letter A. A group of people who share common a language. Sorry, a group of people who share a common language. A common language. The correct answer is letter A. Ethnography of communication, speech community. People, group of people who share a common language. 48. Darkness, visible, and fearful joy are examples of darkness and visible are two opposite things, but they are joined together. Fearful and joy are two opposite things as well, but they are joined together in a single phrase. What literary device is at play here? A. Oxymoron. B. Litotes. C. Antithesis. D. Paradox. What is the answer? Correct. The answer is oxymoron. Letter A. Two opposite things, right? In a single phrase. For example, bittersweet, sweet sorrow, deafening silence, tough love, living dead. We call this things oxymoron. 49. The speaker, I think for number 49 needs a careful analysis of the sentence. The speaker lectured on the Golden Gate Bridge. Are you not confused? Hindi po ba kayo confused kung anong ibig sabihin nito? Right? You have two possible interpretations here. Now, as far as meaning is concerned, your first interpretation is about the topic, right? Topic. The speaker lectured on what topic? The Golden Gate Bridge, correct? The speaker lectured on the Golden Gate Bridge. Topic. Another interpretation is the place. Saan? Saan siya nag-lecture? The speaker lectured on the Golden Bridge, right? So this is confusing because it presents two possible meanings. Okay, what do you call that situation? A. Structural ambiguity. B. The effect of intonation on meaning. C. Semantic ambiguity. D. The effect of register on meaning. What's the answer? Correct. Semantic ambiguity. Right? Semantic ambiguity. Letter C. Semantic ambiguity occurs whenever one or more words within a sentence can be understood as having two or more meanings. One word having two possible meanings, semantic ambiguity. Last number 50. The theory behind the audiolingual method of language teaching, this audiolingualism, is that learning a language means A, communicating in real life situations, B, socializing with others, C, talking to oneself, D, acquiring habits. The theory behind the audiolingual method of language teaching is that learning a language means what? Okay, let me check your answers. Josh said letter D, acquiring habits. Regine said letter D, acquiring habits. America said letter D, acquiring habits. Yes. Okay, before giving you the answer, let me ask you this. What is the most popular activity in the audiolingual method? What is the most popular activity used in the audiolingual method? Please write your answer in the chat box. Listening? Hmm? Ano yung pinapagawa ng teacher sa mga bata? For mastery. Imitation? Drills, correct. Drills. America said drills. Okay? Sa audiolingualism, drills. And drills is habit formation. Okay. Now, what learning theory influences the audiolingual method? What learning theory? Behaviorism, correct, Josh. And behaviorism is habit formation. Therefore, the correct answer is letter D, acquiring habits. Okay, this ends our session. Passing 30. Sorry, I have to move a bit higher. Score, please. Can you share your score? 44. Wow. 28. 28 okay na. 37. Okay na 27. Actually 25 is 75. Pasado na. Wow, 41. 38 over 30. Okay, sige.